Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome to all the souls the world over. Today, I have an interesting story to tell you about a little boy who utilized two mystic friends to attain to God, to attain self-realization. And this little boy, he was endowed with divine qualities from birth, inherent in him. And he used to sit for meditation every day, without fail. He didn't always remain a little boy, but he started his journey when he was a little boy of 3 and constantly meditated. And he had to cobble up a partnership between two mystic friends, unite them and use them to attain God, to attain self-realization. So this little boy kept on meditating. And as he grew in meditation, he grew with the years. His innermost core of consciousness, his soul began expressing itself. And he persevered. As he traveled along the journey, some yogis from the Himalayas, they came and gave this little boy the breathing of life and death called Kriya Yoga. And as he practiced his Kriya Yoga, he waxed strong towards self-realization. His inner perceptions increased. His clairvoyance became clearer. His clairaudience became sharper, because the physical body that the little boy had donned was being refined by the greatest alchemical science of all times, called Kundalini Kriya Yoga, which leads one to the final Raj Yoga. That Raj Yoga ultimately leads you to Samadhi, and then ultimately to Nirvikalp Samadhi, Nirbij Samadhi, and Kaivalya, the solitary singularity, the Kaivalya Purush. This is the journey of the soul. The little boy was the soul himself. His two mystic friends, who were very dear to him, were life, which he loved very much by the practice of Kriya Yoga, and the other friend's name was death, which was to come to him in any case. Nobody can escape death. So the little boy kept on practicing, and his inner voice, the voice of his great Mahaguru, the spirit of his soul called Shiva Goraksha Babaji, kept guiding him. And as he practiced, he became more and more knowing of his true nature of consciousness. Every time he went deeper within, his consciousness expanded more and more to subtler realms. So this little boy, who had now become a youth, was on his inner journey through ever more refined and ever more expanded spheres of consciousness to get to that God essence which lay at the core of his own being. Of course, his inner journey through more and more refined spheres of consciousness led him to cast off the grosser sheaths of mind. It was like the peeling of the onion as he refined his mind. So his two mystic friends, the little boy was the soul, his two mystic friends were life and death. Those two apparently seemed to be at loggerheads and seemed to be poles apart. But then a wonderful alchemy happened. As he practiced more and more, and time went by, he was able to prolong time in shorter space. The space-time continuum was being mastered by the movement of his life breath through Kriya Yoga. It is said that if a person who is on his normal path, he practices Kriya Yoga, then his evolution will be one year of natural spiritual unfoldment. A perfected Kriya Yogi will do in half a minute by the degree of his concentration. Now what happens in Kriya Yoga is that a human being breathes 21,600 times per day. If you prolong your breath and say, for example, you only breathe 10,000 times a day and not 21,600 times a day, then every day the life you save is 11,600 breaths. If you breathe 21,600 times a day, and by prolonging your breath, you only in one day you complete 10,000 breaths, then you save 11,500 breaths. Now this, if you save for many, many years, the life in your storehouse, the life with you is worth those many, many pranic breaths. So life is saved by prolonged breathing. And as you breathe every day, those breaths, when your destined time is over, say 10 million, 10 billion, whatever your breaths are for 85 years, then death comes upon you because life leaves you. When life leaves you, death is present. When death is overcome, life is present. So these are the two friends of the soul, which are poles apart. They have to be combined to conquer death. And I will tell you how this is done. So when you save your breaths every day, and you get to your ripe old age, say you're going to die at 85 or 90, when that time, the call comes, when you're 90 years old, death is certain. It will come upon you and will swallow you. You will have to pass through the tunnel of death. Normal people go and die. They become unconscious, subconscious and disintegrate. The souls go out from their body, but they are not aware of what is happening till their next reincarnation or till they get to higher spheres of consciousness. But in a yogi's case, his life is there. Death passes him through the tunnel he passes with, say, 1,000,000 breaths of life. Say 50,000 breaths are left. Death is certain. Okay, it has to come. So it comes like a tunnel upon the soul. But the soul has life through practiced Kriya Yoga. He is saved up and stored due to long breathing. He saved up the 21,600 breaths, saving 11,000 breaths, say approximately, every day of his life. So unless that life is exhausted in him, death cannot come. So this boy, what he did, he kept his life and entered death. This is the alchemy of total transformation. This is what I want to tell you, the story of the little boy, the soul, who befriended life and death and was able to utilize them both to enter what is called the state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When death comes to you, say at about 90 years of age, and you have still a big stock of your pran, your life left in you, and you pass through the gates of death, the alchemy is not death. Neither is the alchemy of a combination of life and death life. Neither is the alchemy of a combination of life and death death. It is a different combination. When the yogi, full of life, passes through the tunnel of death, the yogi enters a stage called Samadhi, the stage of thought-free enlightenment. And this is his greatest victory, for he has utilized both life and death, conquered both life and death to become immortal, pass through the gates of death, conquer life, and get to the state of Satchidanand, self-realization. This is the wonderful alchemy of Kundalini Kriya Yoga. And my dear friends, remember, just by steady long breath, you can get to this state of victory. And then you can say, O death, O grave, where is thy victory? O death, where is thy sting? This is the thing which each one of you can do, because Kriya Yoga is a very simple process. Anyone can do it. Everyone can do it. So the alchemy of total transformation is a combination of life and death, whereby prolonged breath you can preserve your life. When the time of death comes, you are still alive. When you pass through the tunnel of death, the combination of life and death brings you to a state called Samadhi, the state of realization, the state of enlightenment. This is the alchemy of total transformation, the Kundalini Kriya Yoga, which transforms you from man the brute to man the man to man the God. This is the alchemy of total transformation, and this you must remember, anyone can do it and everyone can do it. So come and join the Kriya Yoga which is being taught by the Himalayan tradition of Shiv Goraksha Babaji. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.